All right, 6:30, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'll start by a pledge of allegiance.
Please.
Would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we've got a pretty full agenda, so we want to keep rolling tonight. First thing I'm going to do is have the planning board members introduce themselves. I'll start on my right all the way.
Chris Evans.
Skip Severn's alternate.
John Decker, Board of Select Representative.
Drew Stevens, Vice Chair.
Dirk Rotenheis, Chairman.
Glenn Griswold.
Danny Arsenal.
Adam Ryan?
Leonard Haney, SRPC. Tracy? Want to introduce yourself?
Want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tracy Stickney. I'm the new land use coordinator for the town of Nottingham, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, welcome.
Welcome.
All right, we're going to start out with the public hearings. We're going to start with case number 26001, SUB, that's Stage Road, Atwood. The application from Donnelly Atwood, located at 326 Stage Road in Nottingham, New Hampshire, identified as tax map 31, lot 10-3. Is the applicant here? The applicant can state the name and address or location.
Scott Frankwitz, New Hampshire Land Consultants, representing the application.
Keith Hathaway, the potential buyer, once the lot is subdivided.
Okay. And you're acting on behalf of the owner?
Yes.
If this was an application, I did see the owner provided you the authority for the application? Yep. Why don't you introduce us to the application and what the plan is?
So like I said, Scott Frankwitz, New Hampshire Land Consultants. This project's been going on for about a year and a half now. We had a few hurdles to jump through. One was going to the zoning board to get a variance. Actually, we got 5 variances approved, and it all had to do with the frontage, so we could do a backlot subdivision. So what we're proposing is a backlot subdivision with 20 feet of frontage on 152, and the remaining lot will only have 187.3 where 200 is required, so that's why we have to go get a variance for that. The reason for that, it's a large, very large lot, and it doesn't have enough frontage to support a backlot and a conventional 200-foot frontage. So we went for variances for that, got those all approved. Also, in that time, we had to get an updated DOT permit due to when this was subdivided back in the 80s. The driveways were different than they are out there now. So we had to go back to DOT, get that the current driveway that's been there for 30 years. We had to get a new permit for that. So we got that approved. And also there's a driveway that crosses a pretty significant wetland. And that's been there again 30, 40 years. But we had to get an after the fact permit because there was never a permit approved for that, even though there was FEMA money that built it and a bunch of stuff. But that's all in place too. So we got our wetland permit, we got our driveway permit, we got our zoning variances, and now we're here with the planning board for the subdivision application. The existing lot is 72.61 acres, has 207.76 feet of frontage. There's an existing house and few outbuildings currently on the property. What we're proposing is a 2-lot subdivision. The house lot will remain with 18.48 acres. With 187.3 feet of frontage. The back lot will be the remaining 54.13 acres and have the 20 feet of required frontage. And a little, in the regulations, it says you have to access the back lot through a common lot line. We got a variance for that too. And we're using the existing driveway for both lots. And we submitted the easements and stuff for that. We did not provide test pits due to the size of the lots, and we are prepared to ask for a waiver for those, which was brought up in the planner's review. We did do a full existing conditions, wetland survey of the property, and that's it within the plan set. We tied into an existing plan that was created for the overall lot. And like I said, that's, we're providing access through the driveway that's there. There's no changes to the driveway. And the back lot will be 54 acres plus, and Mr. Hathaway will be using that lot. And that's the whole application, and I'll put it up for any questions.
All right, we'd like to turn to our regional planner to just kind of go through the review.
Yeah, it's as Scott said, it's a large site with not a lot of action. It's two lots. One's currently built out and the other one's the back lot. I did make a comment saying that, yes, technically we do require test pits, even though it's a 50 some odd acre parcel, but so I suggested a waiver. He submitted it. So with that in hand, you have it now. It wasn't part of the original application, but you should have it now. I would say that the application is complete and that you could accept it. And I don't think it's a DRI.
Any comments from the planning board about the acceptance of this application? Hearing none, if there's a motion to accept the application.
I move that we accept the application and that the application is not a development of regional impact.
Motion is second by Chris Evans. All those in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes carry. Right,
We're full tonight, so I can't, I'm gonna be quiet.
you can talk. You just can't vote.
Quietly. Just say smart things.
No.
You can state your opinion, it just doesn't count. So there is a waiver, is that what you indicated, Blair?
Yeah,
I do have copies.
yeah, did you, that was one of the ones you printed, right?
Yeah, it's in the first two sections, you know, binders.
It's just for the two test pits, that's all it is. And it's only for the back lot. And he shows the 200 by 200, so you can see where it would go. And there's plenty of upland around there. So,
Yeah, so we have in our packets waiver for Article 8, Section 18.2. That's the two test pit 4K area. And then the Article 18.2. So we would need to move on that before we start talking about the application. So if we're comfortable with waiving the test pits and when that, decide when the house location is set, those test pits would be done and then the be reviewed by the septic system design would be reviewed by New Hampshire DES. So can I get a motion for waiver, one way or the
I'll
other?
make a motion to waive the test pit requirement on this.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Second by Adam, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes carry.
yeah, so beyond that, my first comment is just a reminder of the 300-foot monuments. as part of the monument certification. And recorded plans at least. We didn't see anything from the road agent in the public works, but this was, as he said, it's a significant road crossing. It would have been nice to have heard something, but.
But it's on a state road.
It is, I was more talking about the back part of it.
Oh.
I mean, I guess it's a driveway, I don't know, just,
Shared driveway all the way up to the back.
yeah. It's more their issue than ours. And then, is there a reason why no sequential numbering of the lot numbers, the proposal?
If you look at the old subdivision, the front lots are 1 dash, or 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, I believe.
That's on the deeded plan. The tax map has it as 31-10-3 for the original lot.
Yeah, it's 10-4, 10-5, 10-.
Yeah, but these are both 10-3-1 and -8. It would seem like 10-3-1 and 10-3-2 is
Right.
what I would have thought it would be.
Yeah.
Or keep the original lot at 10-3, and then the new lot would be 10-3-1.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, I just wanted to know if there was something I was missing, because I thought I looked around and I didn't see it, and is this something that we even need to care about? I don't know how, sometimes people get like, well, where are the missing ones? It might just send someone in there with confusion.
Going forward, whatever the lot number is and gets put in the deeds and everything else gets really confusing if you don't have a format.
I kind of feel like, yeah, so if you could,
That's the way we would.
is
go.
it something that you proposed, or was it given to you by the assessors?
No, it was something we came up with, I'm just trying to figure out, because this existing lot was 10-3, right?
Yep,
And then we called the back lot 10-3-1,
that would make sense.
is what we have on the plan. No,
It says 10-3-1
10-3-8.
and 10-3-8.
okay, 8 would have just been given because of the lots up front, go to 10-7.
So,
But yeah, we can make that 10, the existing lot's 10-3 and the back one will be 10-3-1.
perfect.
That'd be cool.
Let's do that, thank you. And then if you could add, now that you've gotten your waiver, if you could add that and any note about the state approvals to the plans with the variances and stuff, so we just kind of have that all together for future posterity. Beyond that, I think it's pretty straightforward.
I've got something also just to clarify when we get a final plan here is you have the approved variances. Let's put the date that those variances were provided.
Okay.
I guess show up on most every page, but
Yeah.
we can just add a date in there.
So this is clearly a back lot and there'll be no further subdivision.
Yeah, that's notes on the plan, state that, yeah. And that per the variances, that was one of the conditions.
Do we have a copy of the variance?
I believe I submitted it with the application.
I don't think I saw it, but I see it on the plan noted, but not on an individual letter of approval.
I don't think we got a copy of those, but that's why I didn't know what the date was.
Yeah, it was October 15th of 24 actually is when they were approved.
Quit the process.
Should we have a copy of that for, see what conditions are in there, or is that? I looked for it, I didn't see it in here, so.
No, I mean, it's part of our, it's already approved, right?
Variances don't have conditions, they're a variance to a certain zoning ordinance,
Just
so.
allows them to have it, you know.
It's outside of our purview, is what it boils down to,
Yeah.
Chris.
Well, he's, okay.
Can you talk about I think you mentioned a DOT permit for the road, but what about the DES permit? I have some vague recollection of this coming before the Conservation Commission about a year ago, maybe. But I'm a little fuzzy on the details. I feel like there was something to do with culverts that were
Yes.
done out of?
Well,
without a
originally
permit,
when
things like that?
Inferno's built the road out there to do the logging, it wasn't approved.
Okay.
And they put the road in, and then when the current owner purchased it, of course, she had no idea, so she just kept using it. And then when we went for our zoning board, there were a few public members that came out and mentioned it, and then DES got involved, and they did some research and found out it was never approved, so we had to go through an after-the-fact permit, which was last fall, or last spring. They had us do an evaluation on the culverts and everything and submit that to DES.
Scott, was there two wetland permits, two crossings?
The one big wetland crossing to get up there.
There's no changes to that roadway or driveway that will dredge anymore or fill anymore?
Nope.
No, it's current.
No, without a permit.
The proposed driveway that goes from where the existing driveway is to that backlot area, it looks like it crosses through the wetland.
There's a small little wetland there right now. Heath is contemplating whether he's gonna jump that or get a permit for that.
What do you mean jump that?
You can span it
Build a bridge over
and not do an abutment on either side, and it's a very small area, so maybe more.
I haven't seen water in it for 3 years too, but I know it's wetlands.
So I guess my question is if, you decide to do a wetland crossing, we typically require a conditional use permit for wetland buffer impact, for wetland itself impact. So that would, make a difference. I don't see how that could be approved, showing it just going across this wetland without something noting that it would be. I haven't seen anything, come before the board since I've been on it that's had, something proposed that'll kind of span a wetland, so I'm not familiar with how that works. But at least for just straight up wetland crossing, we would need a conditional use permit to
Okay.
have that.
Yeah, and it should be noted on the plan too, so that it will carry through that if that is the future driveway location, that would go through that process.
Yeah, I'm just trying to once I get through this step, I can actually write it up and purchase the property, that's all. And then I'm gonna do everything by the book.
So on the, I see that there's the wetland soil scientist information here. There's no wetland scientist stamp on the plans anywhere. And it's also not noted when that, wetland survey was completed.
Yeah, Luke Hurley from Hurley Land, Environmental Land Planning did the wetlands. And his name's on there. I'll get a stamp from him to get on the final plans.
When was that done?
I was just gonna check.
Last summer, he did a lot of he did the permitting for the wetland permit, so last summer.
Including all the backlot and everything?
Backlot was done more recently, more like this summer.
July 29th, he was out there.
Looks like there's some fairly significant terrain on that back section. When you are going to be building that driveway, I'm a little bit concerned about how much elevation you're crossing there. Do you know approximately what that slope is up through there?
We haven't designed a driveway for going out back yet.
Would it be possible to note areas that, you know, do contain slopes that are 25% or more? It's just difficult to kind of ascertain what areas those might be.
Is there a response to that question?
He said, can we note it? We haven't noted it on the plans.
No, I mean on the actual, you know, topography.
Right,
Can it be
you're asking if we
shaded?
can do that.
Yeah.
It's not on, right,
Yeah.
so there's no response. Yes, we can.
That's the response I was looking for. Thank you.
Usually I take it as a directive from a planning board, not really a question when you ask for it.
We can change.
Trying to be nice up here.
Any other comments from the board?
I think that my only real comment is that with the location shown for the driveway, since it is going to be an easement, if it needs to be moved as part of the design portion, that's going to require you to update where the easement is, record a new set of plans, et cetera, et cetera. I just wanna make sure that, you know, that's something that you're not going to necessarily run into, especially given how steep the slopes are right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's, other than going directly behind the house and around through the yard, that's really the location, so. And I guess my response would be that we'd have to come back with a new easement plan if it does get moved.
Any other comments from the board? So right now we have some conditions we just talked about, having the date of the variances on the plans. Future wetland impacts for the driveways would require an application. And wetland scientist stamp and date on the date of flagging on the plans, and then showing the 25% slopes in the plans, plus 25% plus slopes. Anything anything else?
We asked them to add all the state approvals and town waivers to the plan as well.
I think we should see a
And
wetland.
change the lot numbers.
And change the lot numbers, yeah.
I feel like the board should act on, you know, some type of waiver for the wetland impact if we're gonna approve a plan that shows a road going through it. That is part of our ordinances and procedure. I don't think a note on a plan saying that that hasn't been approved is quite enough.
But we wouldn't wanna waive it because we, wanna know what's gonna happen in the future.
But if we approve this plan with a proposed road going through it, haven't we consented to a wetland crossing and ignored our conditional use permit procedure?
No, but my opinion is no. If we can note it on the plan that it's not approved until, a future driveway is designed. We don't know, they might skirt around it, they might do something different, they don't know yet.
I guess I'm kind of withdrew on this one, in that I'm uncomfortable in approving a plan that has a very good possibility of being changed. Especially where the road is going to be, or the driveway rather, is going to be, you know, a deeded easement. And they're currently showing it as a wetland crossing without any sort of, crossing permit for that. Right in that area. I know it's a fairly narrow area, but
Anything from any other members of the board?
I concur on both Drew and Glenn. When somebody's going to the, I don't know, building inspector, let's say, to say, hey, I wanna put a driveway permit, are they gonna be looking for that on this plan, that there was or wasn't a crossing or, you know, easement, or how it fits, and was there? I mean, it's showing going across there, it's not like there's any other place it can go, so it has to go across the wetlands at some time to get access to this lot. So how can we say that we're approving this lot with no access to it? Or legitimate access?
Just keep in mind, we can jump that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very wide, it's 4 or 5 foot wide wetland. It's very small.
But that's not in your proposal here.
Purchase the land, then spend money on the driveway design. The easement was for the DOT, right, originally?
It was for the variance. We had to
Variance,
throw-
so we probably went too far in.
either way, you were going to have access to that back lot. And the deeded easement would be the method of getting over there, and unfortunately, without having, you know, something showing a way of crossing that in a reasonable fashion, I can't support approving it.
We could put a note on the plan saying that will be either, the wetlands will be either avoid impact or a wetland permit will be approved for the crossing. And because right now, we don't know either way, and if we show you us jumping it, then we jumped it. I mean, we can do a plan showing an embankment or abutment on either side and jumping it. And that's, I don't think Heath has got that far with it.
Without that. I mean, it is really only, there's no other way to really do it. The most efficient way would be through that only 4 or 5 foot wide section.
So they're saying they could
So
either
if we
span
said
it or
yes.
go through it.
Right, so if we said yes, does it lock us into something or?
We would still have to get the state permit and come back to the town if we impacted that wetland, regardless of what you guys do tonight, so.
Right, but the state's requirements are different than what our requirements are, and our requirements are that a wetland impact, a buffer impact, and an actual wetland itself impact requires a conditional use permit, and this has both of those. And so, you know, it's shown on this plan as being a road that has no span, no jump, anything like that, no indication that it would avoid the wetland impact. So there would be no action, no explicit action from this board to approve that wetland crossing. And you say that if down the road you decide not to do a span and to go, you know, through it, then you would just be going to the state and you would be bypassing our conditional use permit that we normally would require of something like this for the planning board to say, yes, we approve this conditional use,
How would we be avoiding that? We would still,
Because this
as
plan would be
professionals, have to
approved.
come back to the board.
You would come back to the board with just the conditional use permit?
That's, yeah. I mean, as professionals, that's our job, to make sure we have all the permits in place when we're, and then they won't issue a building permit for Heath out back unless those permits are in place too.
Yeah, but the worry is that there's, you know, tacit consent to have this wetland crossing as it's shown on these plans, where you know, potentially would go to the state and show them this approved plan from the town, and there'd be no, the chances for the conditional use permit to just bypass the planning board altogether, I trust you, but we need to retain our authority to approve these conditional use permits. And I think by just approving it as is like this without seeing an actual conditional use permit or something on the plan stating that it would be spanned and avoid impacts altogether, I feel like that would be irresponsible of this board to do that.
Well, could we put it as a condition that they come back for a conditional use permit? I mean, it's tied to the approval process of this. You know,
And as far as that goes, just to add that our conditions of approval do have a timeframe in which things need to be done before anything can move forward, and if they don't meet those conditions, then we can, we will deny the deny the whole application.
Right.
Which I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, if we put a condition in the acceptance of this, I still don't like it because it just kind of doesn't follow the process that we have for doing this type of thing. But if the rest of the board wants to get this done, then that'll do.
yeah, I don't know that it's just a matter of getting it done, but it's also, the burden, putting a burden back. And, we wanna get these things approved, but approved right. I don't know if anyone else has an opinion on, if we have a condition here that this wetland crossing in the future will require conditional use to come back to the planning board, I feel pretty comfortable with that.
As long as it appears on the face of the plan, I'm okay with that.
That sounds reasonable.
Yep, I can get behind that.
Any other concerns?
Can you still sign the plans and they can record it if that condition? I don't know. I mean, like, how does that condition get met? It's more of a trigger than a condition, really. Right?
Could it be tied to the building permit somehow on the plan?
It's a planning board regulation, so the building inspector doesn't really
Well, if there's a-
regulate the,
If there's a condition that a conditional use permit will be approved if the wetlands are impacted, then they wouldn't issue the permit. Because all the permits aren't in place. If that's what we propose. So
Yeah, if it's on the front page, it's a note to the building inspector to see that. Because we can take, someone can come in with just a conditional use permit, it doesn't need to be tied to a subdivision or something like that.
And someone with their own individual property that wants to put a house on it and has to cross a wetland, has to come in, they don't have to have a subdivision,
Right, exactly.
application, it's a conditional use application.
But those usually show plans crossing the wetlands and it's for that particular crossing. And so since this is maybe it will, maybe it won't, that's where my.
But if the
stitches.
condition, if they come in for the conditional use permit, we'll have those plans. They'll have to go to DES.
I'm comfortable with
you know,
what we're
like
working
that.
out
Yeah.
for a condition here. If Blair, if you think it's reasonable to tie that to the, bill, or putting it on the front will be a, message to the building inspector to make sure that that's been completed, then I'm satisfied.
I'm gonna cross the line, I'm gonna cross it until I get permit.
Anything else jumps out at anybody on the application?
Just jumping across the wetland.
Oh, 40-foot beams, maybe?
Just a jump.
It's just a jump.
Trebuchet.
little ramp on both sides. And
Yeah. We'll jump the wetlands.
So, let me just read some of these, conditions that I currently have and, so we've got, showing the date of the variances on the plan, future wetland impacts for the driveway, and that those future impacts will require a conditional use permit by the planning board. Wetland scientist stamp and the date of the flagging. 25% and greater slopes be shown on the plans. And the lot number. the lot numbering would be for the back lot to have lot 10-3-1, and the front lot be 10-3. So I'd entertain a motion that has what we talked about.
I will, oh, go
Just
ahead.
before you make a motion, just
Sorry,
process-wise.
yeah,
Public.
yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Let me open the public hearing. So if there's anybody here to speak to, for, or against this application, you're welcome to come up. State your name and address.
Dave Bassett, 316 Stage Road, Nottingham, New Hampshire.
Okay, and the time for the, is 7:07 for the public hearing to start.
Okay, I have several.
I'm sorry, I'm a little
I'm a
hard on
little
the hearing.
hoarse, so I'll
Okay,
speak up.
okay, what was your name?
Heath.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm a opposed budding owner. Beginning with, the original subdivision was made, okay? And the reason why was, there's only 200 feet of road frontage, 6 lots of 200 feet. The first lot, I'll start from the back, first lot has 50 feet. The other 6 have 200 feet. So when they did the original plan, why didn't they subdivide it so they could have a back lot on each one of those lots? Why is this an exception for this subdivision of a 200-foot lot? I mean, the town, it came up with it. I'm not a land developer, and I'm not a builder. But it's kind of a rule of thumb since the 80s, or probably before that. You had a minimum of 200 feet road frontage and a minimum of 2 acres. So a lot of these subdivisions were put in because they bang, 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 200 feet, they went right straight back. So my concern is, the approval of this, and actually the upper 4 lots have better land acreage, and they're not crossing wetlands. So, why didn't the original subdivision have the same thing that they're trying to do now and build a house out in back?
I can't answer why, but I can say
Because
that,
it's against the zoning, right? Correct? Because you need 200 feet minimum road frontage.
that's right.
Okay, so that's, the road frontage on that on that subdivision is kind of used up. That's what I know was divisible 6 into 207 feet. I'm sure they just, they divided it all up. They didn't have enough for another lot. In the first lot, well, there's 7 lots. The first lot was done with 50 feet of road frontage, but it was be sold to an abutting owner only. So whoever bought the second lot were my parents or the Badgers. There was 3 people that only had the opportunity to buy that. My parents bought the second lot, and they bought the first lot. So other than that, that's why I'm opposed to it, because it's 200 feet of road frontage.
So just to respond to that is, yes, that isn't to our regulation, our requirements, but the applicant has obtained a variance from the zoning board that sets those requirements. So they went to another meeting with
I
the
went to
zoning
those
board.
meetings too.
Okay, so that was approved through that process, and that doesn't have anything to do with the planning board, but I understand that we have to go by what the zoning variances are now.
Okay. Only two of the house. Okay, there was never a permit for the driveway for the house. That's out there in the back now. There wasn't a permit to cross wetlands. So how did they get a permit to build a house? Or did they get a permit to build a house? Who's required in town when they say, hey, I want to build a house out here? Isn't there somebody in town that should say, hey, look, you need a driveway permit and you need a wetlands permit crossing? They'll
Yeah,
just-
that's
they'll
under the
just-
purview of the building inspector. And I don't know when that house was built or who the building inspector was at that time or even what that process was.
So they kinda dropped the ball on that one, whoever it was, because they didn't have permits to cross it.
But we don't know whether they did or didn't. Well, not for the crossing. We do find out that they didn't, which
Right,
this
yeah.
applicant has now rectified. So they went to New Hampshire Department of Environmental Science and obtained a permit de facto to when the impacts were made earlier. So that was a permit that they did get current date for that filling that happened previously, the impacts.
Yeah, you see, I own both ends of that, there's a pond there. I own one end, lower end, and I own the upper end. And that road there regulates the level of that pond. So on my upper end, they could adjust the flow of the water, the height of the water, and it puts my land on the upper end underwater. And on my lower land, it, on the lower part of the stream, it depletes the water. Now as the channel goes, it doesn't even freeze anymore. The whole ecological plan of that swamp is gone. You know, they put the crossing in and they put it in wrong. I talked to the guy in the state, I tried to get a hold of him, but he's retired. Nobody else is, they haven't replaced him yet, as far as the water crossing goes. But that's one of my concerns, is that road regulates the water levels of that pond. It affects both ends of it. Yeah, I would say, you know, hey, if they own the whole pond, have at it, go at it, but they're not the only individual owners.
Mhm.
I mean, I actually own more frontage than anybody there on the whole pond. You know, my parents had bought the, like I said, the second lot. You know, the old farm there, that belongs to it. So there's quite a bit of we've got quite a bit of frontage on that pond. Which I think the pond is actually, nobody owns the pond, isn't it state owns it?
It looks like it's on private properties.
Yeah, but I mean, a body of water,
Yeah, it depends on the sizes of those.
yeah, I mean, it's 20-acre pond, so I mean, I don't know, I'm not an expert at it, but isn't it something like over 2 acres? If it's not a man-made pond, the state actually owns.
10 acres?
10 acres.
I think the pond's a little bit bigger than that. The whole pond.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the pond's not fully on the property, right?
Yeah. That's what they're crossing.
They're crossing the pond?
Yeah,
Yeah,
going across the pond with 2 culverts.
we aren't. Previous owner crossed the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing any more
The
crosses.
current driveway.
Yeah, the current driveway.
Current driveway, yeah.
So, but does that make it right? You know, that somebody put it in illegally? No, okay, yeah.
It's been corrected now.
It's not
by
correct
the
because
state.
of water levels.
Well, the state has provided the approval for it.
I was on the understanding that there was supposed to be a public meeting on it. I got a registered letter in the mail saying that they applied for that, but I never heard anything.
That's not our board, so I can't make,
Yeah, so the state
comment
makes a
on it.
decision and you're out of the, water. It's kinda like I own the lower end, so what if hey, I'm gonna build a road across there, put the house underwater. Does that make it all right?
Yeah, I can't tell whether it makes it right or not, but that's
No.
not the purview of our board.
What's that?
It's not under the purview or approval process of our board.
Right, I'm talking about the approval of this law.
Yeah, that's not.
It's an illegal
but-
crossing. When the state comes in, like I said, the guy was probably half retired anyways, but he's retired now. But was a real expert that came in and looked at the impact of that road between the lower end and the upper end of the pond.
We don't know.
I don't either, because the guy's retired.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for your comments.
They're not, yeah, like I say, yeah. Just bring up some thoughts, because like I say, so
Okay.
the other 4 lots, if somebody, they wanna go for a variance, they go to the zoning board and get it approved, and they could do that same damn thing. So there's probably 100 lots back in the 80s that were made with 200 feet of road frontage. If everyone that had 200 feet of road frontage, deep lots, you know, 7 acre lots in town, go to the zoning board, get a variance, put a house behind their house.
Well, everything that goes to the zoning board for a variance has to have justification to do that. So it's not just that it makes an application and then it's done. So there's a process that
Well, I
has
went
to
through
go
the
through.
process.
Well, thank you for your
Listen.
comments.
But, all right, I guess I'm done.
All right, anybody else from the public want to speak to, for, or against this application? One more time, anybody else want to speak to this application? I'll close the public hearing at 7:16. Bring it back to the board, entertain a motion one way or the other.
Dirk, do you know what the applicant responded to the commentary? Usually there's, give them that, applicant
Yeah, sure.
to respond.
You can.
If they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity here. If the applicant would like to make any comments from the public hearing, then that's fine.
Just, I mean, we've already talked about the wetland crossing, of course, David Price was the reviewer of that from DES, he's been there for decades. I didn't know he retired, that's the first I heard of that. He came out because there was a complaint issued by Mr. Batchelder that there was a illegal crossing there, and that's what triggered it. So Mr. Batchelder's been involved with the whole process, and DES is supposed to keep him informed as the complainant, I believe. So we had to go through the whole process with David, and I met him on site, we walked it, Lou Curley met him on site, he walked it. It's been reviewed by professionals, and I believe they required a drainage study to make sure that the pipes were adequate for the subcatchment to go down through it, so. I believe we jumped through all the hoops that DES wanted, and they issued our permit for the crossing. That unfortunately, I think it was a logging crossing originally, when the Fernals bought it and they logged it back to 80 acres. But back in the 80s, it was a different world.
I would also like to just, so I added a beaver-proof add-on to the culvert, and we haven't had an issue. Actually, the beavers were the ones that were stopping the flow, which would wash the driveway out, so those people would deal with a washout every year. Ever since I added this beaver-proof add-on, everything's been great. We haven't had any issues with it going over the driveway. I know it was a dry summer, but everything's been really consistent.
How long have you had those in?
I don't know now. What do you think, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah. Another point of this whole driveway, through the Mother's Day flood of, I think it was 07, 08, the driveway got washed out and there was FEMA money that replaced that driveway. So there's been governmental agencies involved, and I don't know why that in 07 didn't trigger, there was no permit in their files, but
Right.
somehow FEMA money came along and they repaired it, because there was a house out there at that point. I think the house was built in 05 or something like that. But there was a house out there and the Mother's Day flood washed the driveway out and they got FEMA money to replace that driveway.
Thanks for that input. Bring it back to the board.
Close the public hearing.
I did,
Okay, sorry.
7:16.
In that case,
Oh.
in that case, I'm willing to make a motion to approve the subdivision plan. Excuse me, bugger, where's the number?
701. Supposed to be
26001, with the conditions as noted, regarding the steep slopes, future wetland impacts, conditional use permit, data variances, parcel numbers, and wetland scientist note and stamp.
Any seconds?
Second.
Adam seconds. All those in favor indicate aye.
Do we have discussion?
Sure. Discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
In furtherance of Glenn's point about the condition, should we be more specific to the condition about the crossing, such as, an actual plan be shown before any driveway permit or building permit is issued, very specifically, so that right up front about that second crossing?
I think that's a good idea.
Otherwise it'll get missed, so it may require a current use permit, It might require state approval for a wetland crossing, depending on what they do, and there's a whole pile of processes there that, you know, we're skipping right now. And I don't know why it didn't get put in as part of this, if it was clearly shown that they need to get across there. It just seems reasonable. So that was my only other, and I don't know if you mentioned the adding the wetlands dates and stamps onto your conditions, and that all
Yep,
fees
that's all.
were paid and complete signed plans and milers.
So do you wanna just kind of amend that and explain there's an impact to wetlands, conditional use permit, and potentially a wetlands application would be required?
I will amend my motion to include the conditional use permit being required for any future wetland impacts and before any driveway permit or building permit can be approved.
Need a second?
Any other, no, just any other discussions? We had a motion, a second, we've had some discussion. All those in favor indicate aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess the guide for the zoning amendments did not get printed and put in your packets. Tracy can print them, but they'll take a minute, so if you don't need one, don't raise your hand. If you do want one, if you need one, can you let me know? Yes.
What are we missing?
The zoning amendments guide, the updated one for this meeting.
15 pages, something like that.
Was it
I know some of you print your own stuff, I know some of you have your laptops.
I don't have a laptop today.
I see that, yeah, but
I do have a laptop somewhere. Here from work.
yes,
Same.
I need it too.
yes, one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do mapping on my phone.
Read 16 pages on your phone.
Six.
Yeah. This computer's hard to read
That's not this one, right?
and hard to type on.
No, that's last month's.
All right, let's keep on here. If everyone wants things printed, then she'll take care of that.
LOA.
Let's move on to case number 26002. It's a lot line adjustment for Ledge Farm Road under True. Applications from Paula True. It's located at 60 and 66 Ledge Farm Road, Nottingham, identified as tax map 58, lots 6 and 6-1. The applicant's here, please come forward. State your name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Peter Landry, Landry Surveying. In attendance to my left is Paula True, and we're speaking also on behalf of her husband Winthrop and the other affected abutter, Sarah Evans, who you have the authorization forms with you, and she's not in attendance tonight. So the plan you have in front of you tonight, there's a lot of detail on there for a 2-acre transfer of parcel A. But you'll look at this particular area. It's located east side of Ledge Farm Road. There is an existing dwelling, Ledge Farm is what it's called, number 60. There's a dwelling, well and septic shown on that plan, as well as a detached barn. That area is around 11 acres. Then they're gonna shift over 2 acres to the abutter Sarah Evans, leaving 9 acres with 750 feet of frontage. Now, you'll look at Sarah's existing lot is 34 acres. Add the other 2, she's looking at around 36. So 34 plus 2, 36. Her lot, you'll also see dwelling number 66, septic well and detached buildings, as well as many easements throughout not only this subject parcel lot, but she does own other lots to the south of this subject parcel that we're talking to, with associated easements that run part of this subject parcel. So, again, each lot has septic well. It is a lot line adjustment. We're starting with 2 lots, we're ending with 2 lots, not a subdivision. We are putting in for 2 waivers because of the oversized lots and the exchange of the land not being in any close proximity to improvements. Matter of fact, it gives Sarah's lot more room. That parcel A is all wooded parcel, no improvements on it. And because of the season of the year, we did take the liberty of setting the monuments back in, I believe, early December before the snow flew. So those are in, and there is a monumentation signed certificate with the package. That pretty much is it, in a nutshell.
Okay. Blair, I'm looking for some input. I don't have your sheet here, but
Yeah,
it's probably
it's,
here.
I had noted there were several signatures. That was because I got an original submission under the deadline, and they then submitted it, but it didn't make its way to me through the holidays. So ignore my initial comment. We do have signatures. There may be one additional page that you have to sign, the abutters list, but Tracy will grab you before you leave. So yeah, the application's complete, so ignore my comment.
Do we have those waivers? I don't see the waivers in my packet. Do you have those waivers that were mentioned?
I do. They have a signed waiver request form.
Am I just missing it? Anybody else find those?
I do not
Yeah,
have it either.
it's in the, it's in their package.
Yeah.
Do you have signatures on your pages?
The waivers? No,
No, signatures on any of the pages?
no.
No. Yeah, so you got the original one that I got.
I have a blue highlighted mark where a signature should be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what you might have is that original submission, but yeah, it's topography. Sorry, go ahead.
I got it.
You got
I
it?
found the waiver page.
Yeah.
It's a big packet.
Yeah, topography and wetlands. You know, it's no impact on the,
These haven't changed other than the signature.
yes, that's correct.
So the signed ones are not different.
Nope. Well, not that I can tell, it slipped something by me.
Blair, I assume it's not a development of regional impact.
No.
It's a lot line adjustment. I don't know if those you're gonna have
I
to.
don't-
Yeah, does that
I don't
even?
think so, I don't think you need to make that vote.
All right.
I mean, that would be a hell of an adjustment.
Right.
Moving the town line.
Yeah, exactly, right? Annexation.
Can you cross on Ledge Farm all year long, all the way through?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Slip is
Huh?
get out some days, but yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I've
mean,
driven
the
through there,
important
but not in the middle of winter.
Unfortunately, since they paved the first half, it's increased traffic tremendously.
Yeah.
Bad idea,
Right?
yeah. It was a bad idea.
Good woman, good woman.
It was, 'cause they come flying.
Especially right around that curve, right?
That's where our house is. That's Ledge Farm.
Yep, yeah, very familiar.
Yep, yep.
So at this point, we would look for an acceptance, a motion to accept the application.
Make a motion to accept the application as complete.
This motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate aye. Those opposed? Ayes have that.
Don't look at me.
I'd make a second motion to approve the waiver for the 8.3 topography and 8.3 section 9, section 6, sorry, on the topography, and 8.3 section 9 on the wetlands.
I'll second.
1 second.
Discussion.
Discussion, go ahead.
That waiver's just for the wetlands survey, right? The 8.3 section 9, that's
Yes.
for doing the wetland survey, okay. Just make sure, it just says wetlands, so I wanted to make sure. Without referencing.
Yeah, it's showing
Any other
the-
discussion?
Showing the wetlands on the whole parcel.
All those in favor indicate aye for the waiver.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's, we've had the summary from the applicant and from Blair. Any questions about this application from the board members? I guess I have one, Mr. Landry, if you could just explain, though, you had said there's some existing easements and the access for lot 61A.
Okay.
That easement that goes through the property, does that benefit lot 61A for access? More or less, how is the question?
So the access for 61A, or number 66 Ledge Farm Road, comes in off the frontage, down what is labeled gravel driveway on one end. And then if you follow it down, Dirk, you'll see it also says 25-foot right-of-way. Now technically, that's the right-of-way to get to Lot 8, which is behind us, okay? We don't have an easement to our lot because we own the land. So that what you're seeing here, that gravel driveway labeled 25-foot right-of-way travels through, we're subject to lot, so 6-1 is subject to that 25-foot right-of-way that goes to another lot she owns labeled tax map 58 lot 8. And that's where the end of that right-of-way is.
Okay.
Now, some of these other ones that you see, if you're talking about, there's a lot of right-of-ways out here. If you're talking about the ones to the south, those technically have been over the time, and if you look at some of the current deeds, she had access through this Kenny lot. Those have been extinguished, okay? But I kept that in there because of the power poles and stuff like that. Those still exist. But no more access easement going through there. Okay. She does have some other easements which were added. I've done quite a bit of work out here. I know you've been on the board for a while, maybe Skip. So this is more or less, the reason I went through so much for this is to somewhat update. There were a lot of easements added after our last lot on adjustment that was done a few years back, not very long ago. And all of that's really nothing to do with this lot line adjustment that we're dealing with, more to do with rights to go swimming in the pond were added. A 100-foot corridor with a 50-foot easement somewhere, not truly figure out where it's located, but it goes from Ledge Farm Road to the land in the back. Okay, so you can see that partially located. And then there's some roadside and signage and mailbox easements, not very specific in description, nonetheless, still there. And then there was another, I couldn't figure it out. It was, the lawyer wrote this in. They called it, maybe Glenn knows, it's called orphan land. And they called it all of the land between the stone wall and Ledge Farm Road. Now, I think maybe they're talking about towards the center line of the road. Right, but it's not clear, it doesn't say that.
Right.
You know, it's all the road between the wall and the edge of, now, do they know that, are they saying Ledge Farm Road someplace else? Probably not. So I think a lot of times I've seen that with lawyers, they're trying to get title, like write title into the center line of the road, which is a presumption of title anyway. So, but that's overdoing it.
So in this application, you are not removing any easements or
Nothing.
adding any easements?
No, that would be none of your purview, and that's nothing we're proposing. More or less an update of what exists today for the Evans family as part of this survey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Oh, just,
That orphan land.
I'm just curious about the rear lot that's not necessarily being adjusted, but accesses through that right of way.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part, sorry, go ahead.
I just, a question on, map 58 lot 8, that rear lot that is accessed by the, right of way easement.
Got it.
I seem to vaguely recall, and I might be getting this confused, but wondering about the fact that it doesn't have frontage
Yeah,
technically?
okay, so it never had frontage.
Okay,
Okay, years back and some of these, I kind of going off of memory. This lot 58-8 included 58, they've changed all these numbers, so it included what is now a portion of 58-61, all backland.
okay,
Okay, and it did, none of that had any frontage. Okay, so, and
and that extends almost all the way to Stage Road, correct? Or about
going
halfway?
this way, it hits Francesca, the back
Yeah.
of Francesca Drive.
Yep.
And then, I mean, then you've gotta keep, goes quite a ways. It does come a little bit closer to Poor Farm Road.
Okay,
One little section of Sarah's down by an old gravel pit down in there, yeah.
gotcha.
But it's clearly all landlocked. And they had, when I got involved, first got involved, they were using an easement because they owned all the land, and then we cleaned it all up with proper deeded easements, so she could sell this land, down the road if she needs to be. It has, everything's in place now.
I was just curious,
Yeah, that's pretty
As
much
a-
how it got that to where it is now.
well, just by way of explanation, I worked on Francesca's Way back in the day when it was being done, so that was.
This one?
On Francesca's Way, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, over there, yeah. That was the, Skip was around, that was the cluster that they did back in the day where they threw the cluster subdivision right out of the town, if you remember that back then. They reworked it for a decade and brought it back, so.
Pretty much.
We get public comment?
Yep, let me open the public hearing at 7:38. Is anyone here to talk to or for, against this application? Giving it one more call. Anybody wanna come forward and have any comments? I'll close the public hearing, 7:39. And bring it back to the board for more conversation and maybe a decision.
I think the motion with, for approval, with, standard conditions is in order.
I guess I'll step up on that one then.
Okay.
And I will make the motion to approve subdivision 26-002 lot line revision with standard conditions as noted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, there's some
Could,
question from.
could I just, is it improper to ask what a standard conditions?
It's the ones on the bottom of my,
Well, what I noticed on
report.
the, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it talks about putting a surveyor's and a wetland stamp on it. And I gotta be a little bit, I don't wanna, I gotta.
okay, then take the buttons off.
Okay, thanks.
I do have a question that, all of a sudden dawned on me. The planning board no longer takes care of the Mylars to be brought to the registry of deeds. Is that some comment that we should be making as part of approval? That the signed Mylar gets taken by the applicant to registry of deeds?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
on the
That's
application.
required by law. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's on your application.
Is it? Okay,
I think it's on page 13.
okay. I haven't applied, so I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't read it yet? Try fill it out someday.
Okay, thank you very much.
This is not very good.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere in here.
Okay, so modified standard conditions, remove the wetlands.
As they've been wavered.
So was there a second on that motion?
Adam made it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
And
we're
we're
good.
in discussion, any more discussion? Any more discussion, Mr. Landry?
I could give you the
No,
monumentation
so we'll,
certificate, which was a condition. I
No,
don't know
it's
if you
already-
ever got it.
No, it's already, we already received it.
Okay, I wasn't sure because it's on your list. to
Yeah,
give
no,
it to
you
me.
mentioned that you, I didn't know if you were showing it on a plan, but they hadn't been put in the field. You said they've been put in the field. So
Yeah,
that,
well,
so
that's-
it was a moot comment.
Okay, but it's,
condition met.
normally you'd want the monumentation certificate, and you should have it already, but I'm asking if you have it. If you don't, I'll just hand you one.
Nope, we've got it.
Okay,
Yep, we're good.
then that's not a condition then.
It's not, no.
Okay, so two things that aren't, I'm just trying to get the normal conditions without a list. And there's two that I've already knocked
You've already
off.
met it. All right, knock that one off too.
Thank you. Good. No, I have nothing else to say.
It's just checking them off.
Pretty much, yeah, just bring the Mylar in right now.
All those in favor indicate aye. Those opposed?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought you were with us.
How are you?
I don't know, do we need you? Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty. I'll just answer the question. Phone a friend? We can phone a friend?
I'll stick around if you like.
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hold up.
All right,
Didn't
we'll
know
call
her
the next,
number was
next case is, number 26003. Lot line adjustment, Friar Tuck Lane, Cotton, application by Cotton and Martiniak. Martiniak,
Martiniak.
thank you. It's located at 6 and 8 Friar Tuck Road, Nottingham, identified as tax map 7, lots 22 and 23.
Why don't you give us a brief description of what you're doing?
Sure. My name is Waverly Cotton. I'm at 6 Friar Tuck Lane. And we started this process back in the summer of 2019. And we put in an application at the time, and it came back that it needed some changes to it, which we didn't follow through. And that's probably because it was gonna be extra money, I believe. And we didn't think it was a big deal, so we were just letting it slide, which we probably shouldn't have let it slide. But anyway, so now we're trying to pick up where we had started back in 2019, but too much time went by, so they said we had to do a new application. So we did. Mr. Landry, his company, he did all the surveying. And as he said, that there's not a difference in the acreage or the frontage. It's just further back on the lot line, he has adjusted where the monuments are. And that's all we really wanna do, is just, because part of my driveway, my back part of my driveway is on their property.
It also contains her propane tank.
Or is close to it. It's underground now. And we just wanted to kind of correct the error that was made 29 years ago.
So you're, in a sense, swapping same amount of land
Yes,
between the parcels, just putting them in different spots.
right. And it's further back. It's not like he said, it doesn't affect the frontage of either
Yep.
lot.
And because it's an equal area swap, it doesn't need DES approval either.
Well, Okay, Blair, did you have any comments on review?
No, this one was, we saw this one as a preliminary
Right.
a month or so ago. We've gone through this one. And there was nothing left to comment on. He's got his minor certification, so we can take that one off the standard conditions. And we can take off wetlands and surveyor as well, because we have that information too. But yeah, no, there's nothing. Oh, yeah, the application is complete, you can accept it. Sorry.
Any motion for completeness?
I move that we accept application 26003 LLA, Cotton Friar Tuck Lane is complete.
Is there a second? Second. Giving it to Danny.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Jeopardy.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're good. Still looking at you.
I know, he's looking at me.
Just keep your mouth shut.
So my question is, what's the next steps that we have to, in order to proceed and make sure, like, you're talking Mylar and like, these are things that don't make sense.
So we have another step at the board level right now.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
okay.
that's okay.
Okay, sorry, I apologize.
So we just accepted the application as complete.
Okay,
So that's one of our duties, and then this next one is to kind of review the plan. If everybody's comfortable with it, then we'll get a motion for approval or disapproval to get the direction.
So, once it's approved here, Peter will create a Mylar, which is a particular kind of paper. It gets signed. I take a quick look at it, make sure it meets the conditions. It gets signed. You have to take it and record it with the registry of deeds.
Okay.
And that is what memorializes this transaction. It does not occur unless you do the recording.
okay.
And then you have to bring that back and give it to Tracy.
And you also have to exchange deeds, because a Mylar does not convey title from one person to the other, so there would be two deeds from each one of you to each other for the piece that is conveyed here.
Okay. Awesome, thank you so much for walking us through it.
A lot of people don't do that, and then
How is that done?
We can't give you legal advice.
Okay.
a title company does that type of stuff, or
Yeah.
a real estate type of lawyer.
Talk to Peter.
Peter,
Peter.
yes.
We'll walk you through.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any comments from the board? If not, right now, I'll open the public hearing. It's 7:49. Keep the public meeting open for just another second.
Cause there's lots of public.
Last call for public, close it at 7:49. Bring it back to the board for discussion and action.
I move that we approve case 26003 Friar Tuck Lane with standard conditions, not including wetlands survey, monumentation certificate, because we already have that. But an original Mylar with professional seals and signatures.
Is there a second? Danny, thank you again. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have that. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much.
That's a piece of cake.
Thank you for educating us.
Now she wishes she did this a few years back.
Okay, let's keep going. We've got zoning amendments to have and a public hearing on those tonight.
I have
Did you need, you have one?
Yes,
Did you
please.
need one?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's thicker
So
than
she's
all.
handing out to you an updated guide.
That's why we need a new one.
Technically, what we have is, I don't know. is it two public, no, it is just one hearing. But I did break it out to say that we are having a first hearing and a second hearing. I said which ones go first, so we'll just take the original ones. The second hearing on the first four.
Blair, can I,
Yeah, go ahead.
we already had the first hearing. Did we have comments associated with it on those four?
Like the public?
We had a public hearing.
We had a public hearing, yeah,
Yeah.
comments which are from the public.
Did we make changes on those?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna go over, but that's why we're having a second hearing on that stuff today, because we made changes.
We made changes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Alright.
So you have a document, should be a single sheet that is a table, nope, it's a table.
Zoning section, zoning tables,
Would you say it's tucked in the back of that section?
in the zoning tab, there's a
Little pocket.
Oh, look at that.
Pocket, there's a pocket.
Hot pockets.
Grayson, you've been working all week.
Yeah, there it is, there you go, sweep it down. This is just to tell you what, because it's been a month and change, well, about a month and a couple days, since that meeting, and these are the changes that we made. So some of them are quite minor. So the appeals process, same language and reasoning, no changes. The definitions, we added 2 new definitions. We added mixed use and the home-based daycare definition.
And those changes are made in this red line one.
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the updated guide reflects the changes. I just put this little one-pager together just to expedite the conversation. It was also to help me out too, admittedly, but I knew it would help you guys.
Blair, can we update the reasoning to reflect something like to comply with a change in New Hampshire state law, New Hampshire RSA? In case of the first one, 674-33, if that's applicable. When I first read this, it sounds like we were violating state law to begin with. And
I see what you're saying.
I don't think
Instead of comply, maybe conform.
Or, yeah,
To match updated state rights, yeah, I could be more, deliberate with that language, yeah.
okay.
I hear what you're saying. And then reference the
And
RSA.
that would be throwing, yeah.
Maybe even just leading off that reasoning is that RSA, the state has changed RSA such and such, this is too.
Yeah, that would be the reasoning, is that we're matching the state. Right, is that what you're saying, sir?
Yeah. Just making it clearer to people that would look at it.
Yeah.
And say,
No, I get it. I mean, it's important that they understand that because, some of these, I don't know, I guess some of them they may not like, but they'll understand that we don't really have a choice. So I think it is important to state that.
Yeah, I think especially number 3, the ADUs reasoning, the way I read it, I could see many people reading it as though it was a choice that we allowed detached ADUs because of how it's written there. So maybe clarifying that all of these things are, state level that we're bringing ourselves into conformance with.
And actually, Blair, I have a quick question. Suppose these warrant articles fail.
Yeah, good job, Glenn. That was on my.
That's why clarifying
yeah,
is important,
that's why making
right?
these really clear that.
We still have to follow the state rules.
Well, I mean, it creates a weird situation where the building inspector would have to follow the state law, but our zoning ordinance says something different, right?
Right.
He has to follow the superseding law, which would be state law, or we'd end up getting sued in some way.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is that he follows I mean, cause Dale said he has to follow local law, I don't actually really know whose gun to his head is more powerful, but.
That's a way to put it.
But I remember him saying local, he has to follow the local regs because he's a local building inspector. And that would deny someone an application they're entitled to, and then they would have to sue. So, yeah, I think just in the presentation of this, you make that clear, that this is, out of your hands.
Yeah, and we briefly talked about it at the select board meeting too, that, if they don't pass, right, you still gotta follow the state law.
So the select board had made that determination.
We said that the other day, we talked about, we had talked about it here in some previous meetings, and when somebody asked me that same question, Glenn just did, that was my answer based on our comment and our previous discussions.
Yeah, it's gotta be real clear.
I just, the thing that I'm like kind of bumping my head against on it is that, in general, towns can be more restrictive, but they can't be less restrictive.
Right.
But in this case, the state is telling us that we can't be more restrictive. So I'm a little, it's an unusual situation.
Right. It's opposite the way they normally do things.
Agreed.
Okay, well, let's
Anyways.
try and work out
Yeah.
a clear message.
Um,
Then the multifamily,
right, and then so, we added two definitions and then, to, number 3. And there was some minor wording tweaks. And then, yes, in the multifamily, changed the title, we, changed what the width is, or not the width, but just like where it's measured from. We clarified that it's the edge of the right of way. And then we add in the mixed use to permitted uses. So, I don't know, I could say it's fairly benign, but that is what happened.
Does anybody recall if that 1,000 feet applies to lots that aren't on frontage on Route 4?
It literally says only includes lots with frontage on Route 4.
Yeah.
Thank you, Glenn. I just saw a house a couple days ago that it was within the 1,000 feet, clearly, but in Nottingham, but did not have frontage, so that popped right into my head here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so that's the changes on those 4. With the exception of the reasoning, which is not technically part of the hearing, does anybody have anything to say about where these 4 stand now? I'm thinking we would just address these 4 and then move on to the next ones, or we can go through the next ones, however you want.
let's address these 4.
How about if we added after New Hampshire state law requiring whatever, state law changes, so people recognize there's a change in the state law and we're just reflecting that change.
Yeah, that's what my note is to myself, to make sure that it's like, that they know that these are new changes that we are updating in response to. These are not changes that we were out of compliance with.
So just adding that one word to the end of.
Comply with new New Hampshire state law changes requiring X.
Yeah, and then if it's obvious, I haven't looked at all these yet, but as Skip said, adding an RSA, a specific RSA that is driving the conversation on this.
Yeah.
That would help, yeah.
I'll do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got one little minor grammar thing.
Sure.
On amendment 4, from the nearest edge of each side crossed out of the Route 4 right of way. That's just the only, just adding in the.
Okay. Yep. Cause that one's gonna have to come back before us again.
If we do that.
Yeah.
Is it worth it for the?
I don't know.
Let's
bugs me.
hold on, let's put a pin in it, let's see how these all, so we definitely have another meeting, right? We definitely have another meeting, because the ones we're gonna go over next are gonna be back here in front of you on the 28th.
I
And
would,
everything on the 28th has to walk out the door unchanged.
Right.
Just FYI. Oh, shoot, which reminds me. Alright, so let's just put a pin in it. It might be, we could do it, but let's see how the other ones go. One of the things that was brought to my attention in the definitions section was frontage, our change to frontage. Town council reviewed these, had no comments except for that one. And
The frontage one?
yeah,
It's like the one we barely touched.
he said because you don't have a definition of road, it implies that it might. The definition of frontage is being changed to eliminate the reference to class 5 roads, which could be interpreted as a town allowing frontage on class 6 highways or private roads. I checked the zoning and there is no definition for road. So there is no limitation on what classification is needed for frontage. I asked him if he had had suggestions. I said it was in response, and I said the board's change was in response to these things about our goal was to be in compliance with recent RSA changes for class 6 roads. And he said, if the town wants to continue to require legal frontage to be on a class 5 road or better, class V or better highway, it can, since the frontage issue is separate from the RSA 674-41. Stated another way, RSA 674 is not intended to dictate what counts for legal frontage in a community. So that was the response I got back.
is it a right of way rather than road?
No.
Okay. Throwing something out.
It's about where you get your frontage. I honestly don't really get it. I only got the response this morning.
Rick, can you read that last little bit again?
From him the second time?
Yeah.
Stated another way, RSA 674-41 is not intended to dictate what counts for legal frontage.
But in order to get a building permit, you need to have frontage as defined in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah. And
But we're not allowed to deny somebody on a class 6 or private road.
well, as long as they comply with the select board's, who's it wants he? The policy
On roads?
in class 6 roads.
Layout, you mean?
No, they have to sign a waiver saying that they're not, that the town is not responsible for
Oh,
that's
right, right,
specific.
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. But that still counts as frontage then, right? Or no?
But it
I
doesn't,
mean, that's
not according to,
this,
if we don't change it.
the way we went through that, it sounded like we had to include those roads, which is why we did what we
I agree.
did.
I was worried because I kind of interpreted, I mentioned it, I kind of interpreted it the same way without having a definition of what road means, but I don't have a suggestion, I don't have like an answer for you.
Should we just leave it alone?
Not make the change,
Not make the change at all?
Keep it as class
Class
5 or
five.
better. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather see you do that
Then,
than, and let someone bring a fuss forward over the class 6 if we're not getting it right.
right,
He doesn't seem to be, like, the way I'm reading, Matt doesn't seem to be giving us any, like, no, you have to make the following change, otherwise you're gonna be.
Yeah, I'd rather us not open up the door
Yeah.
that
right, so
something
let's
could
just
happen,
scratch that
so.
amendment
Yeah.
completely.
It's kind of, I think at this point where I would be leaning, yeah.
And if somebody comes in with, you know, something on a class 6 road, then we can approve it.
And if they
But they have to
meet
go
all,
through
if they
the
meet all
process.
the other conditions of a class 6 road, if they jump through those hoops and this is the last thing that they gotta do, I think there's a path forward.
But
Waiver.
it's interesting, cause we were trying to make this, at the beginning, we were gonna say a class 6 road or better, which doesn't make any sense either.
Right.
But he was indicating the frontage is not a condition for class 6 road, according to that RSA, that wasn't part of the deal. So I say we use the same words we had there before.
Yeah, I
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'd rather see you have that in place to protect you and then someone tell us we were wrong down the road on a class 6 conversation.
I mean, we could have something, I don't know how exactly we would go about this, but, you know, if somebody comes forward with a class 6 road that they wanna build on, you know, we've got the select board waiver there, and we can always waiver portions of the requirements. Or special exception or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever terminology you wanna use.
Yeah, I think there's a path forward. I don't think anyone's coming to you with a class 6 road with 150 feet of frontage. Whatever they have back there, they got a lot of it. So.
So if we change that, then you get your the.
Okay.
I was gonna say, it's been that way for a long time though, without the.
Right? So.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
No, I understand. I'm
Okay, I think
just
we
saying
talked
it's
about it,
been there for a long
let's,
time.
we can move on. I think we're all set with those, right?
So you wanna vote on 1 and 2?
Where's that going?
Well, I wanna open the public hearing for because we need a second public hearing.
We can open up the comments certainly for the,
for 1 and 3.
yeah, sorry, 1 and 3.
Alright, sorry, I'm just trying to take my notes. So this, again, this is all one hearing, so we could treat it as that. We could go through this at the board level and then we don't have to do it twice, is what I'm saying.
All right,
Unless you want to.
Right.
I was just gonna get it out of the way, but we'll just do it all at once.
Yeah, cause we still have to talk about the other 4, or other 3.
Right, there's no, right, we'll just do it all at once, cause there's nobody here to, unless somebody walks in the door.
So,
I just don't wanna come back to these after the fact,
Right, we'll just cover them all.
coming
at
back,
once.
so we're done with
yeah, we're
those 4.
alright, so now we're on
Wait,
to,
except for where's the going, sorry.
number 4.
And number 4 is the.
Yeah, it's
Amendment for the,
from the nearest edge of the Route 4 right of way.
okay.
It makes sense without a the on the, if you're talking about each side, so.
Right.
So,
it
number
really
5,
wouldn't need
home-based
that.
daycare.
Let's move on.
This, again, this is another one of the ones that we were required to do. So you can see what we struck and you can see what we added. Basically, the state kind of mandated that home-based daycare facilities be allowed without any additional requirements for permitting or review. We've added it as a definition to the definition section. We've added home-based daycare facilities to a couple of the other districts as an allowed use, just to be clear. But in this particular one, you can see the change that we're making. Excuse me, which just simply adds kind of boilerplate language from the state. As far as like the breadth of a home-based daycare facility, that is entirely handled at the state level. We do land use policy here. The sort of like childcare policy, part of this is handled at the state and it's rigorous, so. They will make sure that you're not jamming 50 kids in there, in a playpen. And they have, you know, proper number of like a teacher ratio or you know, adult ratio, whatever. And I think they even break it up by age groups. Any questions on this one? Okay. Number 6, this is in regards to your town center district. This one, we broke some things out to be a little bit more clear about what we're intending to do. So you can see single-family residential and multifamily were allowed, but duplex wasn't. So what we did was we made it permitted uses: A, single-family; B, two-family; C, multifamily, not to exceed 6 units per structure. It was 4. And then we also added mixed use, and we also added home occupations. And that is it. All I did on the left is just change the numbering. I did this so that I could group together the residential uses rather than just tack them on at the end.
Right, cause they were all in that one
Yeah,
A.
I just think it reads better, just by formatting preference.
Do we need to put residential in any of those terms, like single family residential?
It's
or-
actually, it would be single family dwelling, because that is what the definitions are now gonna become. If you look above, we want, everything's dwelling, comma, single family, dwelling, comma, two family, dwelling, comma, multifamily, so, or dwelling unit. So,
Should we try and be consistent with those?
yeah, you want me to add dwelling?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can do that. Yeah. I saw that, but I'd already printed it up, or, you know, added, I just like, all right. And since we're adding the, we may as well.
So what is mixed use? Mixed use dwelling?
no,
Oh, no?
that's not well.
It's in the definitions.
It's just, well, yeah, it is, he is right, it is in the definition, so you can scroll back and look.
It's,
But yeah, it's just like apartment over a shop kind of thing.
No, but is it are we adding
Page
dwelling
5.
to that also?
Oh, I wasn't planning to, because the definition is mixed use, because it's both commercial and dwelling, so it would not be appropriate, I don't think, to
Okay.
say dwelling.
oh, yeah, I agree.
Because
That
also,
would be
mixed
weird.
use, in theory, could be office over retail. A lot of communities will differentiate between where office is allowed and where retail is allowed. So you could technically have a mixed use where that would happen.
Structure? It seems naked, that's all.
It talks about non-residential uses, not structures or buildings,
Yeah.
uses.
I think it's, you know, it's,
Type of development or structure consisting of residential and non-residential uses, provided that such uses are individually allowed in the applicable zoning districts.
Okay. Good,
all right.
thought we're missing something.
Any other comments on this section? I have one more, but I just wanna get yours first. You know, I listen to your community a lot talk about housing and residential density, and we have moved from 4 units up to 6 units per structure for this district. Increasing the density. Does anybody feel like this change might be a poison pill for the whole amendment? Because I think everything else in here is very good. Adding two-family residential, adding mixed use, adding the home occupations. Like home occupations, we have to allow because single-family residential is allowed, we have to allow it. So do you feel like town meeting might see this and be fine with everything else except for that part? Can they make changes on the fly? I just wanna know if like we would lose the good parts for a minor change of going from 4 units to 6 units. The 6 units being aligned with other 6 units per structure. It's still the same amount of area that's required per unit, but it's just what you allow at a single structure. Other districts allow up to 6 units, so you were trying to be in line with that, so there was consistency. I'm just asking, what's your thoughts on this?
I did an analysis of this district, and there were 46 or 48 lots, as I recall, and you could not fit a 6-unit on any lot in the entire district, so it doesn't even matter.
Because if you get some lots together and do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's no
But
vacant lots, you have
Out
to,
here.
I know, I'm just saying. It's just-
It matters if, because he's saying it gets voted down because that's in there.
I mean, how, what do you think the temperature would be?
Yeah.
Well, if it's impossible to get to, maybe we should just go back to 4.
I think 4 is impossible to get to myself.
I mean,
You know,
right,
just-
but that's not a change.
Well, I understand that.
Or we could just get rid of the limit and just say multifamily and walk away. Though that might be taken even worse.
Right,
exactly. I would put caution on that one, just by the perception of it. I mean, Chris is not wrong. I don't think you're gonna see anybody, cause it's just, the assemblage of lots is gonna be very difficult in that area at 2 acres per unit. The visual part of it, you know, you all understand the nuance, but the other 293 people that might show up may not. And
It's gonna be 593.
I was working, yeah. So I wanted to put it out there. I don't have the answer for that. This is something that you
It seems like, you know, if practically it makes no difference, and we were just doing it to try to bring things in alignment with the other districts, you know, I hadn't even considered it being any type of poison pill, but if it's making no difference, let's just get rid of that change, you know, in my opinion, just.
Well,
Take
let's
it
look
out.
at it this way. What we chose to do was also separate the thoughts. So no matter how this works, it's gonna look like a new thought, whether it's 4 or 6.
Well, we had 4 in there before, so
I know,
we
but it
would
was-
not
it-
make a change.
Right, but
But it's as part of single family.
Well,
So-
right, but also, you know, in the reasoning, it wouldn't say to allow
You can,
additional uses
we
consistent
can
with
change
township.
the reasoning, but I'm just saying that no matter how this gets printed, it's gonna appear to be something different from what it was before.
So speaking of how it's gonna get printed, my understanding is the official ballot is only this first piece up until the blank square.
Oh, true.
Say that again?
That is true.
My understanding of what gets on the ballot is the top part before the blank square.
The amend Article 2D to be in compliance with. blah,
We
blah,
do
blah.
say, the last phrase does bring a spotlight to the multifamily. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that is the only part that's gonna get,
Okay.
I mean, I have the,
So by changing, we could
I mean,
change
if
the
we-
6 to 4.
if I moved multifamily down to its own, right now, the way it was written, permitted uses, A, lists 2 uses, single family and multifamily up to. I think moving multifamily down to its own would only change the format. I don't think you'd have to draw attention to the multifamily as like its own thing, as its own.
Yeah, I was looking at the way this is broken out
Yeah.
with the red and the underlined.
Yeah,
So when you're looking at the top piece here, it can end at structures.
Yeah, not
And
the
it-
and amends
Right, and then it comes up that way.
multifamily.
Yep. Good point.
I like that.
oh, if we go back to 4.
Yeah.
Yep, if we go back to 4, it could be, the period could move up to after structures.
Does it make sense to call out the reformatting of the section 2 so that if somebody does look at the guide and they see all this red, they wouldn't think that we're changing multifamily as well? Do you know what I'm saying? Like mention up there that it's also, we're reformatting that section? Because we are.
This gets tough.
Yeah, I know, it's hard because we're trying to clean stuff up. And
it's messy.
yeah, it's super messy.
Sausages and laws.
Yeah, the sausages taste a lot better.
Do tend to be a bit more palatable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to pontificate here. Do you feel like we should just stick with the 6 or the 4?
Yep.
Alright, yeah. I'm kind of,
So just change in the way we have written it up, just change the 6 to a 4 and leave it separated out for,
Yeah, keep the
Read.
formatting, but just
Right.
change it.
Yes.
Not to exceed 4
Mhm.
units. per
yes,
structure.
yes. No, you have to,
And
because
then-
if someone wants to get a variance, you need them to be able to call out a specific use.
Right,
You don't want them
right.
to be meshed together.
and then have
delete the,
Sorry,
have
what?
the sentence end at structures and delete and amendments multifamily use to allow up to 6 units per structure.
Yes, correct, that last phrase, yeah, I would get rid of that. I might add something else and just say, and add home occupations or something.
In a theoretical world, you could have 2 4-unit buildings on a lot in theory, and there's the conversion section in our zoning, it allows up to 8 units, which conflicts with this, so there's still messiness out there for that is gonna take decades to fix, really.
Yeah, there is, that was one of the other reasons that made me feel like we don't need to make this little fudgy change if it's gonna kind of tank this whole thing, cause I think these additions are good, I think mixed use, I think the idea of the town center, mixed use and duplexes are really what that neighborhood should be like. So I'd hate to see you all lose that for this. And it's not even that great of a, like, as Chris said, there's just not that many.
There's
Pile
no
lots.
vacant lots that accommodate this at all, and there were like 3 lots out of the whole district that would accommodate even a duplex.
Yeah.
Based on our current standards and setbacks and sizes, so it's, our restrictions are pretty good. I do have another quick comment and question in furtherance of what I did this whole survey of the area. 11 Raymond Road, lot 43-47 is zoned according to the tax card as commercial and industrial. And it's right in the middle of this downtown district.
that's not us.
Who changes maps or would correct that, or do we need to make some
Is that
sort
the
of?
zoning or is that
Avatar.
the use?
Avatar.
The zoning. The zone, C1, commercial industrial district for
That's
this
Avatar.
lot in the middle of, kind of just past the fork
It's a
on,
clerical
where
error.
152 and 156.
Clerical error from the assessing software,
Clerical
the
error?
assessors
That's
stuff.
the assessing
Yeah,
software that you're looking at there. So that
Human
there you go.
error.
That happens.
Yeah, that would never take precedence over the zoning map.
right.
Someone could never come in and make the argument, oh no, my property's zoned commercial industrial, cause it's here on the Avatar assessor card.
The internet says it's commercial industrial.
Must be true.
I asked ChatGPT. It said I can build a
So
movie
if you, if you notice on the, when you first open up the GIS, there's a very, very specific big note that says that this is not official and just informational.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to do, the official town map calls the town center district a commercial district. It says it's called commercial district. It's supposed to be town center district. It might be that got carried over or some silly thing.
Left over, all right, well, just, and doing this
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
in-depth lot analysis, I saw that.
They're not gonna get any benefit of that.
I didn't include that in my cross-section and diagnosis of what could be done, so that was one potential lot that could have.
Alright, so I've got thank you,
Another
I've got
duplex.
the comments on number 6, so I feel like we're pretty good there, I know what you want. So on to number 7. This one's a little more complex, it's in the same, same family of what we were just talking about. This is about multifamily. first off, multifamily is a use, and then these are regulations specific to multifamily. But it was that, for some reason, that section is in the section of zoning districts. It's not its own zoning district. So what we're proposing is to move it down into general provisions. So that's the first change, is just to relocate the section. That would name it subsection Y. And we were changing it to multifamily dwellings as opposed to development. You can see a ton of changes of the spelling of multifamily to be consistent with the rest of the zoning ordinance. The biggest change, and then this section also includes multifamily dwellings conversions. The biggest change here is, and I fished this out, or sent this out to Drew and Dirk. I couldn't tell from our conversations at the last hearing whether you wanted me to remove duplex from this section, because it's multifamily. Multifamily does not include duplex. Duplex is a separate type of land use in our zoning ordinance from multifamily. So that is, I thought you said remove, Drew wasn't sure, and I went with it. But I'm here to reopen the conversation because I wasn't sure if that's what you all intended.
I think if we have it one place, let's just keep it in one place.
Yeah. Yeah, so it exists as a use in like the residential agricultural section. When you talk about minimum land area, it doesn't technically say per unit. It says a lot must be 2 acres. It could be interpreted that a duplex could be put on a 2-acre lot. Because this is saying duplex land area, 4 acres, right? 2 acres per unit. So
What does our duplex section say?
if you go up to the residential agricultural section, Article 2, subsection C, number 2, requirements, it just says no lot shall be less than 2 acres in area. Now, I'm all for duplexes on 2-acre lots, but you guys, you know.
About the same as an ADU. Cut the crap.
Except depending on size.
Yeah, but ADU just has size limitation.
In the last 5 years, we did about 120 building permits for single families. There was one single duplex in the whole town that was built. And I believe there were about 3 or 4 ADUs, so, you know, a lot of people kind of get alarms going off, oh, we're gonna allow ADUs and it's gonna be a flood, but in 5 years, there's been like 3 or 4 that were permitted. I have a list of all the building permits from the building inspector.
Yeah, but
as a
that's new.
reference. Huh?
The ADU thing is
Well, the
relatively
previous
new.
ADU is what I'm saying, so.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah, but the previous ADU rules were pretty darn stringent.
Well,
Just saying, like, there were very few places in town where an ADU could actually be built
right.
because of the requirements that we had.
Like what?
Hmm?
Like what?
Common door.
Common
has to be
door
attached.
must be attached, cannot,
You've got garage overs and that's about the only thing.
yeah, had to be able to be
You think-
converted back into a single family dwelling, you know.
Detached, 900 square feet is a whole other animal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $300,000 animal to get $1,500 in rent. It's not really,
Unless
It's
you
not-
already have a building,
it's not an investment.
unless you have a shed.
I would not expect a rash of.
A lot of towns do allow duplexes on, or single families in all residential zones, it's pretty common in other towns. And 2 acres, if it fits on the lot, the well and septic doesn't seem unreasonable. It's just, it's a way for families to stay together, maybe 2 brothers buy a place, or parents in a family or something like that. It's a step beyond an ADU. Perhaps just a stretch on that current allowance.
So, yeah, I guess, yeah, so there's 2 ways to solve this problem. One is leave duplexes in where it's at, in that multifamily section, or take it out as it's shown, and we would then, you know, make a change up in the res ag district to be more clear.
Well, I think the way in which we've done these, talked about these in the regulations, duplex isn't multifamily. So I think that's why we removed it from this, was because that was basically the feeling, that it wasn't considered a multifamily dwelling. So I think that's why it was removed from here. Now, whether or not there's applicable documentation that would be for duplex, I'm not sure I quite understand.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Well, I don't think we have a section for duplex that gives you regulations and standards.
Well, the only standard would be what you follow for setbacks on and 30,000, 30K area and stuff for a single family. The only difference that we've been having in the past is the increased acreage.
Right, but what I'm saying is we have a single family stuff. We had perhaps some sort of duplex regulations, and then we had multifamily regulations, right? And I don't think the duplex had a whole lot. I wouldn't call a duplex the same as a single family.
No, it's not.
But my question, and I don't know the answer, it's probably in there, but have we covered duplex as its own entity as we did here for multifamily?
Right.
Nowhere else, no.
Nowhere else?
Nowhere
Yeah,
else.
and
So,
I mean,
I didn't find
one
it,
thing that I will point out is that, in the Res Ag District number 5, dwelling units on single tracts. When more than one dwelling unit is to be constructed on a single tract or on abutting tracts of land under the same ownership, each shall be on a plot which satisfies all requirements of this ordinance, subdivision regulation, and site plan review, and shall require a formal subdivision process or site plan review.
Yeah, it's a silly, it's like, it's redundant.
It is.
It could be removed and you would never miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, okay, so your duplex, because it's gotta meet all the rest of the requirements, except for, oh, yuck, no, that's not gonna work, okay.
A duplex is just 2 units in a single structure. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
right, I mean, so really,
But
What's
what you're
the
saying is that
difference?
what you're saying though is that single structure, unlike a single family house, requires 4 acres instead of 2. That's what you have stood on.
yeah,
so why is a duplex not a multifamily with only 2 units?
Because multifamily is 3+, according to our definition.
Okay.
And that section is titled multifamily, so
right.
All right, okay, I am like,
it doesn't, I mean, I guess you could change the title of it,
Yep,
but.
I mean, that might be the easiest thing, but probably kind of late now.
it is, cause everything is multifamily throughout here.
Right,
Oh.
and the other piece that, you know, we talked about Amendment 6, where now we're listing out 2 families duplex, and if we're not even defining it, really.
It's defined, what we're not doing is giving
Right.
performance standards.
Right.
And the only performance standards that's missing from the zoning is, are you gonna allow it on 2-acre lots, or do you need 4 acres? And if you need it on 4 acres, then that needs to be said somewhere, if we're taking it out of this section, because that's the only place where it's mentioned.
Why is our definition different than the building code? I know it, I mean, multifamily is anything more than two or more.
Yeah, that's what I always
That's what
thought.
building code, that's two or more.
Mhm.
It's multiple families.
Right.
Containing more than more than two dwelling units means 3+.
Means 3 or more.
More than two units. Yeah, so it's like just, single family, two family or duplex, and then multifamily. Some communities will take multifamily and divide it up, you know, multifamily up to 5, multifamily up to 10, and it's allowed in this district, like a Somersworth, somebody that's got more nuanced. You're not there.
No.
Almost. So. Cause like, so if you look at the standards of performance for, in the multifamily dwelling section, this number 7, it says that it does not require site plan review. It requires the 4 acres. And that's it, as far as performance standards.
Well, it does also say it contain 120 square feet of 20,000 square feet of contiguous upland soils, blah, 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 so.
Right, but that's.
That is in it.
Which is in contradiction to that's in contradiction to
the lot envelope.
Yes.
Are we taking out the lot envelope? Is that coming?
Yeah, the left hand's not talking to the right in a lot of things, and this is certainly one of them.
So I like the idea, Drew, Blair, of coming up with a you know, an overlay district, if you will, or a general condition that applies to all, because if we took duplex out here, then we'd have to put something in the town district, we'd have to put something in the residential district, and then we have to put something in the commercial district, because now we're putting multifamilies in there. Does that not include a duplex? Can't have a duplex in the commercial district?
No, you can't.
Huh?
No, you can't.
You cannot.
You cannot, and we're not proposing.
And we can't have ADUs there either, even though there's,
Correct.
most of it's single-family homes.
Correct. Well, if it's an existing non-conforming, the town would have to allow it, an ADU, but as far as duplex, no, that's not gonna be allowed in commercial. The change, so what's interesting is that the only change that would need to happen is that thing, that line that says a lot shall have a minimum of 2 acres. You would just say a lot would have to have a minimum of 2 acres per unit.
Right, but then an ADU is,
State regulation doesn't require that. So, and
I know,
anybody-
but it's a unit, which becomes confusing.
I realistically, when I read Amendment 7, 3 regulations where we have deleted the land area for the duplex, and you go to A, the new A, which is land area for multifamily dwelling, shall be 2 acres per dwelling unit. I think that says it. Now,
But it's under the
but it's under multifamily.
section.
Okay, and all that kind of exists. I still believe a duplex is a multifamily unit, but I understand where we went. But I think from the standpoint of this change, this is appropriate, and we just leave it as it is, and then we say, well, you know, we think the duplex is really multifamily for this section. I don't know. It's still 2 acres per dwelling unit, which is what it says up above. If you leave it, if we keep the duplex thing, then we're gonna have to start getting that contain a minimum of 120,000 square feet of blah, blah, blah. That-
yeah, I mean, a
that
change
kinda-
has to happen regardless, cause that's just incorrect math right there. But what I thought I remembered us saying is to remove duplex from this altogether, because this section is just to talk about multifamily.
Correct.
And that's fine. But I do know that, like I said, you have intended that it would require 4 acres, not 2. If that's the case, then we need to go back and make another change in, the only change we would need to make is in the one that I pointed out in Article 2, residential ag district, C2A. Because in the town district, town center district, as Chris was pointing out, that's the only other place where duplex is allowed, and what it says is, actually, it doesn't even say duplex is currently allowed, that's right, we just added it. What did it say? Oh, what it says is, if you go to town center district, to subsection 2 requirements, B says lot sizes as defined back in subsections in the res ag district. So you don't even call it out, you just reference back to the other district. Jesus, site plan review is required. God. Very cumbersome. So what do you wanna do?
Take it out.
Take it out? Alright, if someone calls us out, we'll survive.
You saying leave it out?
Take it out.
Can we add duplex into the multifamily district?
Where it is now.
There is no more.
That's where we're taking
Into
it
the
out.
commercial district, I'm sorry.
No.
No.
No. No, but Dirk, you're saying leave it struck.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just leave it.
Take it out.
Leave it as proposed.
Leave it as proposed, sorry.
Okay, and then, so the only other changes was like references to the state water supply control board, Nottingham building regulations. And then the last thing was the multifamily dwellings conversions. We made the change to basically just the parking. And said, all street parking shall be provided at a minimum of 1 space per unit. This matches, the current RSA, it doesn't, if they show it, they get a building permit, they don't need to come here. Cause it's an existing structure, they're just converting it, and Dale will oversee it. So that is the extent of the changes to this section and to all of our regulations.
What about the additional frontage requirement for this? There's 300 feet of frontage,
For a multifamily, yes.
right? Why do we, I mean, if we're trying to get like particularly in the commercial district, we're trying to get a higher density, I think, you had mentioned, Dirk, you had mentioned like target higher density areas. And if that's like an area we're adding multifamily, there's 118, I did an analysis of that whole district, every single lot, every frontage. And when you start adding in the 100-foot setbacks, the 300 foot of frontage and 2 acres per dwelling unit, there's only like 3 lots that would handle a multifamily up there out of 118. It's not gonna achieve any sort of housing or helping any sort of ease of any housing needs. Can we lower the frontage there? Can we lower some, the bars a little bit, the restrictions?
That's 4 units.
Huh?
That's 4 units, let's just say, multifamily unit, 4 units. That's a pretty decent sized building. And only on a 200-foot, you're gonna have multiple cars coming in and out driveway wise. There's probably
It's a
parking.
state highway,
It's probably parking that's gonna be
10,000
there.
cars a day, who cares? 10,000 cars a day.
I'm saying the width to take what's on the site is necessary, because there's gonna be parking. It's gonna be on-site parking for 4 units.
The building could be deeper and turned sideways. It's an extra 100 feet that it eliminates. I did an analysis. Again, I did every single lot. I did frontage in the area of every single lot, and I ran it through, and there's if you reduced it to 200 feet, it changed it from like 7 lots qualifying for a 2-family or a 3-family to like 26 out of 118. It's still a very small percentage. It's overly strict. That's why in this town, we have 1.5% of our town is multifamily housing. Other towns around us, average, the lowest one is 5% for multifamily housing and rentals, and some are as high as 15%. And we're just way, way, way low. And even just to increase to the lowest number of the towns surrounding us, we have 31 units right now, we need an extra 80 units. We need to provide some housing opportunities here, and we keep tightening these nooses and putting these restrictions. Why do we not have any housing, multifamily or rentals? Because these restrictions are too tight. And when you run the analysis, which I sent to everybody, and everybody got all up in their arms, just going through the.
You know what, Chris?
Yes.
We got up in arms because you can't be sending material like that to planning board members.
Okay.
That's why we got up in arms. It had nothing to do with the content.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make it public right now. Do not send us emails.
Okay. I'm gonna make it public that if I send something to the board, that I expect it to show up at a table here.
That's not what happens. That's not how
That's
it
not
happens.
how it happens.
That's not how it
So
happens.
elderly housing, we don't care about elderly people in this
That's
town.
not what we're saying. That's not what
We're
anybody is saying,
discriminating?
Chris. That's not what anybody is saying.
I'm trying to bring it to the
You
table
bring it
here.
to the, you bring it to, we can put it on an agenda,
I asked to have it put on the agenda. Is it on here?
not for tonight, because we have a lot of other things.
Okay, is it on the next meeting agenda?
I don't know.
You're the chairman. You set the agenda, don't you?
You did not make a request to me
I
to put
made
this
a
on the
request to
agenda.
put it on the agenda.
Not to me directly.
I made
If
it to
was
every
in the
person on this
5
board.
If it was on the 5 pages, I didn't read that. I don't read your stuff.
I-
It's too much stuff. I have other things going on. It's too many things.
I think what we can do is,
We're not gonna solve this in this amendment. It's not gonna come through in these changes. You wanna move it to next year, then that's fine. Well, give us a lot of time to discuss it. But we're
Let's-
not just jamming these things in to make these changes
We've
because of your analysis.
kicked it out from the last master plan that said we need additional housing, rental, elderly housing for all needs and people. And we've been kicking that out for the last 14 years now, 15 years.
All right, we need to
How
move
far
on.
do you
We
wanna
need
kick
move
this?
on.
How far do you
This
wanna
is- We're not gonna
discriminate?
get through this meeting.
I'm just asking if we could change the frontage requirement to 200 feet.
My
and
suggestion is no.
Make some
Any other
assistance
planning board
to,
members can weigh in on that.
I don't think we should be changing it now at this point because we're already too late,
I think,
so.
Chris, I think what you're bringing up is a conversation that is better had with the master plan subcommittee. And we carry that process through the end, because we're on the housing chapter right now, and we're getting to the tail end of it. And I think we work through that process with some consensus. The changes that are before us right now, you know, aren't gonna move the needle a lot in terms of getting a lot of housing built, but what it is gonna do is get us in compliance with the changes in the RSAs, which is the #1 goal at this point. And it is opening up the door to, like, for example, we're allowing duplexes in the town center district. So I think some incremental changes, but I think what you're talking about, that analysis and that larger conversation can be had at the subcommittee, that's where it's supposed to be had. And, you know, I think at the last meeting we were here, we were talking about potentially eliminating the 30,000 square foot area. We were talking about reducing setbacks from boundaries, but increasing setbacks to wetland resources. I think that's a great swap, and I think that if you carry those forward to town meeting together at the same time with the United Front, I think you'd get some, I think you'd get some support for that. I don't think that reducing from 300 to 200 is what's keeping multifamily out of this community right now. It's the 2 acres per lot. You need 8 acres for 4 units. That's just not financially feasible. So I think that there's conversation to be had. I think that there's people willing to listen, but I don't think this is the venue and the time. I heard.
I'm sorry, I thought this was the planning board where we planned for the needs of our housing for our
And
town.
they did, they
That's what I
created a
thought.
master plan
I
subcommittee
was
to have a
wrong.
housing master plan chapter, that was the plan. And that process is still going, and, incremental change is where it's gonna happen. I think that, we're seeing where I think through these conversations, I'm seeing where the tension is and where, there's interest for change. I don't think anyone's saying wholesale change, but I do think that I don't think anyone's saying no change.
Yeah, we have to approach it the right way.
Yeah.
All right, can I make a motion that we discuss elderly housing at our next meeting, please?
Elderly housing is allowed. Elderly housing doesn't need to be in the zoning ordinance. If you allow multifamily, a developer can choose to make it elderly, age restricted if they want to. That doesn't have to be a use, but we can have that conversation if you want. But for right now, we're gonna put a pin on that motion because what I need to do is get us through this final section here. What is the,
In about 8 minutes.
yeah, about 8 minutes. What is the will of the board? Am I taking, we're doing the strikes as presented. Is this what you want me to do for number 7? The red lines.
A lot of them were adding the dash and stuff.
Yeah. But the duplex one, that's what I'm talking about.
So are we taking the 30,000 square foot lot envelope as we previously discussed out of this multifamily district? In addition to the 2 acres?
No.
No.
No. That was never even on the table. What we're talking about right now is what's in front of you. What? It's the red line stuff that's in front of you. I thought I heard, I just wanna confirm that we're going with the red lines.
We're going with this red line. So we've already had conversations about those red lines to make the red lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I gotta wrap this up, yeah, okay, so we're good with the way it is right now and that section. Alright, are there any other talking points, any changes about I guess anything else in the seven changes, or the last 4?
I'm bringing up again, please, that in a previous conversation, you said this 30,000 square foot lot envelope is in 9 places in our zoning, and we should look at all of those and bring that back to a meeting to discuss eliminating that in all the sections.
Yeah.
And this is one of those sections.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm bringing it up. Because we said we talked about that, bringing that up, taking that out of there.
We have to look at it as a holistic. You
Yeah,
can't just say
that's a
this section
big-
that gets
big
scratched and then
conversation.
it's in the other ones. It bleeds through all the rest of the other ones. We have to, look at as a whole regulation instead of just,
Right, we can't
one
just-
section.
Right, we can't just rip it out of one spot.
Oh, alright. So one of the things that I did need to mention is that we were talking about taking out multifamily as a definition, multifamily development complex, which is essentially multiple buildings on a single lot that are multifamily. But it appears that we're still allowing it in, cause I think you mentioned it somewhere, I think you were, oh, right, cause you keep mentioning the number of units per structure. Did you want to keep that?
Confused by the question. What
Yeah,
was the question?
So it's section, page 14, section E, 3rd paragraph thing, buffer zone.
Yeah.
What paragraph?
E, new E, it used to be,
Buffer zone?
yeah.
New E. Yes. Yeah, I noticed this, I noticed that we still have it here. but
Still
we're-
have, oh,
So I think I
development
need to,
complex?
I guess what I'm saying is I think I need to leave the definition, I have to keep the definition because we're still using it in this buffer zone section.
Yeah, I wouldn't pull it out. I don't think,
Yeah.
I think we'd get caught someplace by pulling it out.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Okay, so I will take that out of the definitions section. So frontage and development complex are coming out. Sorry about that, that was just, all this stuff running around. That definition will stay as is, it'll stay in the ordinance, it's not getting removed. So, a lot of this stuff is gonna come back before you, because we did make a few micro changes. But a good number of them are good to go. It looks like section 2, 4, 6, and 7 will be on next week's
Yeah,
hearing.
you want us to vote on?
And when you say next week, you mean in 2
Sorry.
weeks? Okay.
2 weeks. Next
2
week.
weeks, next hearing,
Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah, not next week, next hearing, 2 weeks.
All right.
28th,
So now might be a good time to have public comment.
yes.
I'll open the public hearing for zoning
Zoning.
amendments. All those that wanna come forward, please do. No one's here. I'll close the public hearing.
I'm gonna recuse myself and step up here as a public member.
I've already closed the public hearing, but
I'm public, I live in this town, I vote, I pay taxes.
why didn't you just stand up? I'll reopen the public hearing for you, Chris, but I said it was an open public hearing. Go ahead.
We need to make some modifications to our zoning to allow some additional housing. Our new house prices, average in the town, is over $650,000 for all homes. New houses just went over $1 million average, okay? That's, most people can't afford that. Everything we're doing, tightening up the restrictions, is going in the wrong direction for the town. It's going in the wrong direction for housing. There's people that are struggling in this town. There's people that are having a hard time paying taxes. And we're not doing anything about it. And elderly housing, why is there no elderly housing, specifically elderly housing, when we have the second oldest state in the United States? When 30% of our population in our town is elderly? Why do we not have elderly housing if this is who's living in our town? Why do we not have a higher allowance for, what elderly people, are they gonna be partying and making noise? They need 2 acres? If you're older, maybe you don't want a big lawn. Maybe you need a higher density so that it's actually, instead of building $1 million house, you could put up 2 or 3 elderly houses at the same price level and builders can make the same profit. We just need a higher density. Old people don't need as much land. We have zero zoning regulations in our town for elderly housing, 0. And it's unreasonable.
Alright, Chris, one thing I did say a minute ago, there's nothing keeping someone from not doing it. What you can do, if you want to encourage that use, is you can prepare something for like a density bonus if someone does elderly housing. Other communities have done it. So why don't you go through other communities, find who does density bonuses for elderly housing, and bring something back to the board to react to with a proposal, not statistics, not prices. Bring something back to the board to react to. Okay? All right.
Thank you for the invitation. I have actually prepared.
I move that we
Hey,
close
no.
discussion on this topic.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Check.
I'm happy to give anybody 3 minutes in the public hearing, but
I
that is
did
up.
do an elderly housing overlay
Okay.
district that had a higher density.
So I'm gonna close the
and sent
public
that in.
hearing.
All right, great. Send it along.
Send it
To
along.
Blair,
To me,
not to the board.
To me.
I already sent it, Blair, but okay, I'll send it again.
So are we voting on this, or are we just, I don't think so, cause we're
Yeah,
just,
what did we do
we're
last
just gonna vote the next meeting for all of it. So,
Well,
What about the ones that we didn't change?
yeah, we've got 3 we didn't change. It's on the
Send
hearing,
those
so
to
why
the
don't you,
town.
okay, we can do that. Which ones didn't we change?
Yeah.
Which ones didn't we change?
1 and 3,
1, 3, and
5.
5.
So I get a motion for voting on 1, 3, and 5.
So
Move forward.
Right here.
Okay, Danny,
Good.
thank you.
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion first? All those in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
On the ballot.
So it's on the ballot.
Those are.
On the ballot.
I move to adjourn.
Nope. We have minutes.
All right.
We've got to take care of some business. Take a long time. Doing all these other things, we need to make sure we have time to get the clerical things going. So we have minutes from
What?
the 11th, 12th, November 19th, and December
Does this come in the
10th.
mail? Make a motion.
I have a change.
Yeah,
I have a change.
it's probably the same one I've got. Same one I've got.
Yeah, I've got a change for December 10th, 2025, under line 17, Mr. Stevens should be struck and Mr. Grotenheis should be placed in there. So that was the call to order.
I didn't even catch that.
That was the only thing I found. I move that we accept the November 12th, November 19th, and December 10th, 2025 minutes as amended.
Second.
Oh,
Killing it, man.
Resolution?
any discussion? All those in favor of passing these minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Now it's appropriate. Oh,
There's nobody from the public here.
there's no one from the public here. Let's move other business till next time unless somebody says they have some pressing thing. Then the next thing would be adjourned.
I move that we adjourn.
I will second.
We're adjourned.